Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
I showed a story with you because I don't know if you noticed, it's supposed to be about 80 degrees here on Sunday.
Does that mean the mosquitoes are coming back?
I have no idea.
Last night, it was finally cold enough I could sit outside and I didn't feel like I would get bitten. But the night before, got bitten.
It's not quite sweater weather, but it's getting close.
Oh, it's getting close.
I mean, it was chilly this morning when I walked the dogs.
Mr. Autumn Man might make an appearance at some point. Man?
Yeah. One of our spotlight stories by our own Brian K. Sullivan, and it's entitled High Summer Temperatures Hang Over Much of the U.S. Heartland. And it says, a late blast of warm weather is bringing summer-like temperatures to the U.S. Midwest, delaying the transition into heating season in the natural gas market. We are Bloomberg, so we always think about the markets impacted no matter what. Temperatures are set to rise as much as 15 degrees Fahrenheit or more above normal throughout the Great Plains and Midwest, with 37 potential daily highs that could be tied or broken through next week. And then we'll see the warm weather slow the transition into heating season, but it is also likely to prolong drought conditions across the eastern U.S. due to the accompanying dry air.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, high pressure dome. It's settled across the center of the country near Chicago. It'll spread eastward through the weekend. The heat sticks around. Homes and businesses will keep air conditioners running longer. Usually at this time of the year, energy demand starts to shift from being driven by the need to keep places cool to make sure they're warm enough. But this year's warmer than normal readings will slow that transition, as you mentioned, Carol, into heating season, according to a report from Bloomberg NEF.
We still have air on at home.
Okay, so I was just going to ask you.
But my husband literally goes from air conditioning to heating. And I like to open windows and have but there was a nice couple of weeks in September when we could keep all the windows open. Yeah.
Then toward the end of September into this week, we did air conditioning. But last night and the night before, windows open, everything was nice.
Right? It's just fresh air flowing around. But there are market implications, right? And we certainly see this play. And so we'll keep an eye on this and see what it could mean. The thing that I think is interesting is that the warmer it is, and Brian K. Sullivan, points this out in the story. He says a potentially longer lasting fallout is that the dry air accompanying the rising temps will likely prolong the drought conditions across the eastern U.S. This is according to Oravec. More than 92% of the Northeast from Maine to West Virginia is abnormally dry, and several states, including New Hampshire and Vermont, are either completely or nearly covered by drought. That's according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. So you think about crops, you think about fires, you think about just the implications when land is so dry.
Can I talk about the Boeing story? Is that okay?
I don't know. My dad used to do this when we'd be like, Dad, can I? He's like, I don't know. Can you?
I can't. May I talk about the Boeing story?
There you go, Mr. Stenovec.
This is the most read story in the last hour on the Bloomberg terminal. We talked about it very briefly, but we're getting some more details. Boeing's 777X is slated to fly commercially for the first time in early 2027. Instead of next year. Our team, Julie Johnson and Sid Phillip, exclusively reporting this. Deutsche Lufthansa, the launch customer for the wide-body aircraft, is already laying the groundwork for a fresh setback. The German airline is not including the 777X in its fleet plans until 2027, said one of the people who asked not to be identified because the matter is confidential. Officials at Emirates, the 777X's biggest customer, have also grown more cautious as it looks at entry into service possibly not before 2027.
So we did see Boeing shares, they were up about 1% in today's session. The stock, we've seen it making its way back here in 2025 after what seemed like several years, right, of problems at the airline maker. Stock is up almost 23% year to date. But, when you do have a delay in a launch like this, there are potentially implications. Analysts estimating the non-cash accounting charge could run from $2.5 billion to as much as $4 billion. The Boeing has not detailed the extent of the cost. Company reports on October 29th, so I'm assuming this will be a big topic.
Do you know how long we've been talking about the start of deliveries for the upgraded 777?
Planes, not easy, Tim.
It was originally due to fly commercially in 2020.
Yeah. Well, then we had a little thing called the global pandemic.
We did.
And other things.
We did. Boeing has already racked up more than $11 billion in cost overruns for this plane. It's encountered a string of setbacks and faced tough FAA scrutiny in the aftermath of two fatal 737 MAX crashes last decade.
Yeah. So listen, we know it's not easy. We know it's difficult. I'm still always kind of blown away by the mathematics and the financials of planes and airlines and making planes, because these things are super, super expensive.
This is a wide body.
Yes.
So as opposed to the 737 MAX, the narrow body.
You're listening and watching Bloomberg Business Week. Just a quick reminder of how we closed on this Thursday. S&P 500, 67.15, up 4 points. I believe that was a record. And the NASDAQ 100, 24,892. That was up about 91 points. So once again, we're talking about records on Wall Street, which is something that we hadn't seen for a few days, but there was a period where it was one after another.
Well, we get to our next guest. He's somebody who wears many hats. Andrew Yang is with us. He's the founder and CEO of Nobile Mobile. You might know him, though, as former Democratic presidential candidate in the 2020 race. And in 2021, he made a failed run to be a Democratic nominee for the New York City mayoral race. He's the founder of the Independent Forward Party, also a best-selling author. He's often on our radar. Just this past summer, Politico reported that Elon Musk and Andrew Yang connected on creating a third party to upend America's political system.
Andrew Yang, welcome to Bloomberg Business Week Daily. Great to have you with us. How are you?
It's great to be here. What an awesome intro. I'll take it.
There's a lot. What's more fun, more challenging? Starting up a company, or being an entrepreneur, or running for political office?
Wow, it depends on the office, I will say. I thought that being the CEO of a startup might prepare me for running for office, but it turns out that as a candidate, people want to know more about you, like you become the product, and there's nothing that can prepare you for that. So if that sounds good to you, feel free to run for office.
Okay, so wait, then running a company, starting up a company, you like more?
No thanks to political office.
Are you done with politics?
I'm too young to be done with politics. And even what we're doing with Nobile Mobile, we're trying to lower people's cell phone bills, which strikes me as something that's kind of tangential to politics.
Right.
It's something that is touching policy, but I'm sure I'll run for something again at some point.
We're going to get to Nobile Mobile in just a minute. And like you said, there is this idea of actually getting people to use their phone less, which is really interesting. I want to go back to this idea of you and Elon teaming up to create a third party to upend America's political system. Are you talking to him right now about that?
We are in touch to this day. He did endorse me in 2020, and his team and I share many people in common in our networks. Stay tuned, really.
Well, some folks would argue that he has changed a lot since 2020, or at least his positions have changed a lot. And in fact, in 2024, he said he wasn't going to even get involved in the presidential race. And then he did, to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars, and even serving as a special appointee in the administration. Politically, are you aligned with him?
I'm aligned with anyone who thinks that the current system is not working, that the two-party system is designed to not actually deliver results or solve problems. And there are times when Elon has definitely had that point of view. He's looked up and said, we need something new.
Right.
And it's going to take, I'd say, a real coalition of Americans that might not line up along traditional politics to make that case.
Do you agree with all the things he did under Doge?
I do not agree with everything he said he did under Doge.
Have you and he talked about that?
We talked about the current mission, which is to try and improve the American political system to a point where it actually seems both problem-solving and responsive.
What do you think is most broken? Is it the money in politics and politicians worrying more about making sure they get reelected rather than listening to their constituents?
In a word, incentives, which is that if someone does the right thing, they're probably shortening their political career. If they go along with what their base wants, they might have a lifetime appointment.
Well, so it seems like the easy answer to that is term limits.
That is a very popular answer, one that I endorse. 75% of Americans think we should have term limits because they don't want folks heading to D.C. and squatting there for decades.
Is a third party likely?
It's not just likely, it's real. I mean, we have dozens of elected officials around the country right now because it turns out that there are tens of thousands of local elected offices that are nonpartisan. And that can be mayors, that can be county executives, that can be city council or board of ed. So the Forward Party is racking up wins all over the country as we speak.
But we really still have a Congress that's like, we're divided between the Republicans and Democrats. Like, that's how we divide things still.
And this is the fascinating thing. How many U.S. senators would you need to form a fulcrum in this divided time? Maybe 3, maybe 4. And there are 2 senators who already are independents. Mm-hmm. And you can see something similar happening in the House. It would be a slightly larger number. It might be 6 or 8. So you don't need an upstart movement like Forward to win 51 Senate races. You need us to get 3 or so. And that, I think, is going to happen sometime in the next 3 or 5 years.
Do you think within your lifetime there will be a president who wins, who is not a Democrat or a Republican?
Oh, yeah, I do. And I will point people to a guy named Mike Duggan, who's running for governor of Michigan right now, 3rd-term mayor of Detroit, sky-high approval ratings because he turned that city around. He's running for governor, and he said, look, it's not Democratic or Republican. That's the future of politics in this state. It's independent. And right now, he's the front runner. So there's no reason why someone can't make that similar case nationwide. It might even be Mike Duggan.
Well, I understand the politics of it. What I don't understand is the structure of it in the primaries and how that would actually work and actually get past the primaries.
Oh, I love this question so much. Imagine this. Imagine a primary where Mike Bloomberg, sorry, I keep name checking you, Mike Bloomberg, Mark Cuban, Matthew McConaughey, Oprah, whomever your favorite flavor of independent is, runs in a primary that every American can vote in on their smartphone, as opposed to waiting to hear what Iowans and South Carolinians think. And then you'd have tens of millions of Americans saying, I like Cuban, I like this person. And that would be genuine lowercase d democracy. And there's nothing stopping that from happening in 2028, in 2032. The technology is obviously mature and the will is there if you look at the numbers.
So why doesn't it happen?
Maybe it will happen in 28. All it takes is one major figure stepping forward and saying, hey guys, I'm running as an independent and this is how we're going to choose. And by the way, if you have Mark Cuban decide to take that challenge, then you'd have a whole dozen other people following in his wake.
Do you think he's going to run? Do you talk to him about it?
I do talk to Mark, and let me say that Mark has definitely thought long and hard about running for president.
All right, tell us about Nobile Mobile. You announced it in September. Tell us about it, because it does sound like it's a little bit different than a lot of our cell carriers.
Imagine this. Imagine a carrier that actually paid you to doom scroll a little bit less. $50 for unlimited, which is less than what 90% of Americans are paying, and will give you up to $20 cash back based on your data use. So you know that extra time on X or Instagram, you're actually costing yourself a smidgen of money, and it's an incentive for you to put your phone down. Nobile Mobile, we're also having offline parties around the country for people to log off, touch grass, and come look at each other's faces.
Wait, I think I hear parents around the world rejoicing.
But use the phone to vote, but don't use it to just doom scroll.
Yes. Look, I'm a heavy phone user, and I got money back from Nobile, so if I get money back, anyone will. But I think it's necessary to operate. But I also know there's such thing as too much of a good thing. And
right.
Have I gotten anxious or depressed based upon staring at the screen for too long? 100% yes.
Can you take us into the relationship that you have with T-Mobile? It's an MVNO, mobile virtual network operator. It's like a Mint Mobile, for example. They're the rise of these independent, they lease the spectrum, lease from a traditional operator. How does that relationship work?
Love the question. So we went out to the folks at T-Mobile and said, hey, we'd love to make data available to the American people at closer to true cost, like Mark Cuban did with generic drugs and cost plus drugs. And T-Mobile, because they're actually innovative, they thought, you know what? We're actually going to work with you to make this possible because it's going to be good for consumers. And they liked the better relationship with technology angle. And so they have lent us or leased us spectrum or data that we can then sell to the American people at much closer to true value. Because if you think about it, why are Americans spending $83 a month on our wireless when Europeans are spending $40? I had a friend who worked in London. He came back and got sticker shock when he went to the wireless store. And when you reflect on why that is, we all know why that is. It's because you have carriers that are paying $20 billion in dividends and raising prices while not actually investing in their networks.
What are your expectations in terms of ramp up and folks signing on?
We've already doubled some of our early projections. People are responding very well to the Nobile Mobile brand and mission because 9 out of 10 of us, and I'll use myself as an example, listeners will be able to relate to this. I was spending $140 a month on Verizon for years. I've been a Verizon customer for 25 years, never questioned it. I joined Verizon because they had the best network. And then I looked up and years had passed and I was like, wait, what am I paying for? So now I took my bill from 140 to 46 or so, and everything works better than ever. So that's the kind of experience people respond to as soon as their friend tells them, yo, I've done this and it's real.
So can you tell us how many people are like signed on?
We're growing every hour. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Can I blow up your experience with the MVNO?
You can blow me up.
Okay.
Yep.
So
go ahead, do it.
So Carol and I have spent a lot of years together. We talk about everything, including cell phone plans. And a few years ago, she decided to move away from one of the big carriers and sign up for an MVNO. It didn't work.
We ran out of data.
And how do you?
And it got pretty messy.
And did you get throttled too? So like your data would be slow. There were
it was very slow, and we were myself and my daughter were complaining to my husband. He's like, I don't know what your problem is, and then it hit him, and we were not happy.
I am begging you to try Nobile Mobile because I see the data throughputs, and we do not slow it down. It's truly unlimited. If you give us $50 that month, unlimited, all you can eat data as fast as you can find.
So why can you do that, but T-Mobile can't offer that, or Verizon can't offer that, or AT&T can't offer that?
Cellular or somebody.
I mean, you'd have to talk to some of those other companies.
But you work with T-Mobile. You're literally using T-Mobile Spectrum.
I actually, it's a great question. What it is, I'm going to say, it's like it's a company approach. So from our perspective, we're on a mission to delight consumers and make sure we build a better product and a better offering. And you know what's not building a better offering? Slowing you down at the end of the month because you've gone through some arbitrary data cap. It's truly unlimited, and we can do this quite profitably.
You know what we did? We're not on them anymore.
We switched back.
I'm begging you to go, because your impulse to look at it was right. I'm begging you to check out Nobile Mobile.
I'll bring it home to the family, Andrew, and we'll discuss it. What are the implications?
I will say I'll give you wireless for free for a year.
No,
and then you
not
can
allowed.
about it.
Not allowed to accept, Carol.
Have you met Bloomberg? We don't do that.
Yeah, no, you guys are very buttoned up. It's true. I apologize.
Seriously, just got a minute left here, and I want to go back to politics. The implications of kind of our political world right now. I don't want to point fingers or anything. We were divided when we had a Democratic president. We've been divided with a Republican president. What are the implications of this? And do we find a way out of it?
Yeah, the polarization is getting worse and worse. The shutdown is an emblem of that. I've looked at the numbers and the trends aren't good. And so really the question is, how do we get out of this? And it's a very, very short list of things that could happen. Number one would be a miraculous restoration of one party or the other to some degree of common sense, which if you look at it, doesn't seem like it's in the offing. And then number two is that 50% of Americans who self-identify as independents raise their hands and say, you know what? I want something new. I want something different. And it's America. We can build it. Mike Bloomberg, you would be our patron saint. I'm on your airwaves right now.
Michael Bloomberg, of course, the founder and head of Bloomberg LP, home of Bloomberg TV and Radio and Bloomberg Philanthropies. Andrew Yang, when you're ready to announce what's next, come back.
Well, I appreciate that. I really, really want you to try Nobile Mobile because you had the right impulse and someone did you wrong. We'll do it right.